Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. It's time to do taroscopes again. We're going to be doing taroscopes for the sign of Virgo. That's Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon, or Virgo Rising for the month of March 2024. We have reached March, and boy, has it been a very exciting couple of months so far, especially February. February, as advertised, was quite um, interesting. And so we move into March, and March is, I have to say, a little bit calmer, although things are happening in March, so it's not like there isn't anything happening. It's just at a different level, and at a certain point, we do get used to energetically the increased energy that came in February. So I can't say we've mastered that energy, but we certainly it's perhaps no longer a shock to our system as much as it was when it first came in. And I'm just talking about all the intense Aquarius energy that happened um, in February. And now we move into March and we sort of ease into the Pisces energy this month. And that's in a way a little bit easier to take, perhaps a tad more confusing for some. And for you, Virgo, it is your opposite sign. So let's take a look at what we see um, in the chart for you guys. We'll look at the astrology first and then we'll get to the cards. All right. All right, my little Virgos out there in Virgo land. Okay. So we're looking at now the sign of Virgo. Of course, Virgo is an earth sign. It's a mutable earth sign. It's one of the most reasonable of the earth signs. It is ruled by Mercury. And Mercury is direct this month, so we don't have any issues with that. It does go retrograde on the first day of April, though, April Fool's Day. So rest up, Virgo. Virgo's mantra is I analyze. And of course, Virgo is associated with the harvest, right? Separating the wheat from the chaff. And so this is an opportunity for us to use our discernment and perhaps sit back a little bit as opposed to run around like chickens without our heads, trying to have discernment last month. So let's take a look. We'll just go over the significance of the year that we're in. We're in the year 2024, which when you add those numbers up, we get an 8 vibration. 8 is a vibration of as you sow, so shall you reap. So we're being it's also a vibration of manifestation. So there's a lot of manifesting that's going to be happening this year. In part, the things we do this year will manifest quicker than at other times, and the things that we've been doing for the last 7 years will come into manifestation in the year 2024. The vibration of 8, the vibration of the strength card is associated with the sign of Leo. And so if we look at your chart for the year here, we see Leo is your 12th house, is in a Virgo rising chart anyway. Leo is the 12th house vibration or energy. And the 12th house is where we connect with spirit. It's where we clean out our karmic closets. It's where we come face to face with our own self undoing. And so that sounds kind of, oh no, my self undoing 2024. But it's really about an awareness of that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do it, but it is an awareness of that. And so you're going to be, just as you evaluate your any situation that you're in to make an improvement in it, that's very Virgo. You can apply that to yourself as well. And it is a little bit of a cleaning up period. And of course, harvest, this is a harvest year. And so Virgo is busy harvesting, and it won't be until 2025 when we get into that 9 vibration that you're going to start seeing what's of value and what you need to let go of. But right now, you're very busy because you're harvesting all the good works that you have done over the years. All right, let's take a look at this month in particular. Now, if you look at this chart in the middle here, you can notice that there's a lot of energy in your seventh house. Your seventh house would be your Pisces house for the Virgo risings. And so it is the house of relationship. We have a new moon there, so we'll have an opportunity to start a new way of relating perhaps to others. Um, there is definitely an energy of forgiveness as it comes to our relationships. Now, of course, it's not just a matter of that there's a lot of planets in your seventh house. Generally, this time of year, you're going to see that. You're going to see the sun, you're going to see Mercury, you're definitely going to see Venus in Pisces around this time of year. Mainly because Mercury and Venus can't be that far away from the sun. So whatever sign the sun is in, Mercury and Venus can't be far behind. This year, however, Mercury and Venus and the sun are sort of all somewhat clumped together, although Mercury leads the pack, and then the sun, and then Venus. But we also have Mars in close to the sun this year. That only happens every other year. And of course, we have Neptune there in Pisces. It's been there since 2008. It's almost time for it to leave, actually. And Saturn, of course, Saturn has been in Pisces since last May. And that's probably the one that you feel the most as it moves through your 12th house of relationships. Excuse me, Saturn tests, and it's testing your relationships. Okay. So on week 1, the first day of March, we have a lovely sextile between the Sun and Jupiter. It's interesting. The month starts with a waning sextile to the Sun and Jupiter and ends with a waning sextile between Venus and Uranus. So it's a nice beginning and a nice ending, actually. And in the middle, it's not too bad either. The Sun, Jupiter are the two largest planets, or planetary bodies, we should say. The Sun is actually a star. And Jupiter, they think, is actually a star as well. They think it's a brown dwarf. Because it's so big, it has such a large gravitational field. In fact, Jupiter's is so large and its gravitational field is so strong that it actually protects us from things coming in from the outer solar system. It's sort of like a giant vacuum for our solar system, so that we don't get bombarded by as much space debris from the outer limits as we would if it wasn't there. So it has a benefic energy to it, a protecting energy, and we sort of start the month with that protective energy of the Sun and Jupiter. Of course, Jupiter is in Taurus still, and that's also another Earth sign. So it's in a nice flow with the Virgo energy anyway as Jupiter moves through Taurus. Once it moves into Gemini, which it's going to do in March, then it's a square, so it's a little bit more stressful. Okay, but right now it's in the trine, and it's a nice energy to have. It's nice to have the greater benefic on your side, right? Okay, so on the 3rd, we have Venus make a last quarter square to Uranus. We have a number of waning sextiles. That a sextile is a mentally stimulating aspect. It can either have the underlying energy of Gemini, which makes the sextile very curious, opening the lines of communication, or it can have the underlying energy of Aquarius, which is about sharing what we know so we can create a better and fairer, a more fair, fairer, a more fair um, way of relating to each other, right? Raising all boats kind of energy with that Aquarius. And so at this time of the year, as things are set up, all of the sextiles are Aquarius side sextiles. So they have this energy of progressivism. And so we are apt to definitely approach things in a more progressive mindset, which of course is the mindset of the future. And it is Aquarian, and we have pretty much, I think, moved into the Aquarian age. We still have some work to do, and who knows when the Aquarian age started. Some people say it was when Uranus was discovered. Some people say it started in the 1800s with the Theosophical Society. Whatever it was, whenever it did, we definitely are more Aquarian, and the playing field has leveled somewhat, which has put people in power in precarious positions. We can see all over the world. That's why fascism is raising its ugly head, because they know that their time is limited and they would like to be able to, take it to the end. They're not going to let go that easily. But that's another video, guys. All right, so Venus last quarter square, all the last quarters, all the squares this month are last quarter squares, and so they have the energy of rebelliousness and turning away from the old ways of doing things with an eye to the future. But they do tend to create crisis because they're squares. So we're not short of crisis this month, and of course, um, who's best in crisis but Virgo? In fact, if there isn't a crisis, sometimes Virgo will create a crisis. Don't do that. You don't have to. There's plenty of crisis, plenty of work ahead. So you'll be happily fixing things all month. But at least you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Like, I don't know about you, but that's what it felt like in February, honestly. All right, so we have a last quarter square between Venus and Uranus. Uranus is an energy of freedom, and Venus, of course, is relationship. So we can have some crisis in relationship. It could be a relationship. It could be the way we relate in a situation. We relate to everything, but it's usually when you're dealing with Venus, it usually has to do with, lovers or partners or people that you really do have an affection for. And Uranus with that square there can bring sudden changes in that and opportunities for freedom if that is what you seek. On the 4th, Mercury makes a waning sextile, right? To Uranus. Mercury is your ruling planet. And so this is powerful for you. And Uranus is a higher octave of your ruling planet, Mercury. And so you have communication with your higher vibrational self. Perhaps you will get a vision. You could get a download with this energy. You can have a memory from the past, a vision of the future, or even a past life coming up with this energy. So it is definitely something worth paying attention to. Mercury at this point is in, where is Mercury here? This is when Mercury is in Pisces. Yes, Mercury is in Pisces, Uranus is in Taurus at this time. So Uranus is in that 9th house of truth, and you could get a truth around a relationship issue with that as well. On the 8th of March, Mercury conjoins Neptune. Now, this is a little tough for you. Mercury, as your ruling planet, likes things very neat and delineated and obvious and precise. And Neptune is none of those things. So this can be a little confusing for you. You might feel a little with this energy. It is in your house of relationship for the Virgo rising, and so uh, perhaps things aren't quite as clear as you'd like them to be in your relationships, whether they be romantic relationships or business relationships. On the 9th, Mars makes a last quarter square to Uranus. Now, Venus made the last quarter square to Uranus. Right now, Mars follows up. Venus and Mars are both in Aquarius at this point, right? The problem with Mars in a last quarter square to Uranus, first of all, the last quarter square in itself is rebellious. Uranus is rebellious and Mars is aggressive. So you do need to be extra careful around the 9th because there can be explosive things happening. We also have on that day the Sun making a sextile to Uranus. Those sextiles, again, are progressive thinking. And so maybe this Mars Uranus, Sun sextile Uranus energy will give us some new ideas on how to deal with how to move forward to a more perhaps stable future or a more fair future. At the same time, on that day, the 9th is a pretty busy day. We have Mercury, your ruling planet, move into Aries. Now, Mercury in Pisces is challenging for you. Mercury in Aries is still a little bit challenging because Mercury in Aries is it's very instinctual, it's very quick, but you do get some really good information with Mercury in Aries. It's a very psychic place for Mercury. It's in a way it's an instinctual knowing about things. No logic is involved here. And so that makes Virgo a little bit uncomfortable, but you can usually trust the information that comes in when Mercury is in Aries. It is going to be in your 8th house. That is your Scorpio house. And so any of the water houses, the 4th house, which is associated with Cancer, the 8th house, which is associated with Scorpio, and the 12th house, which is associated with Pisces, is always a little bit of a challenge for you because as Mercury moves through that, or really any planet, because nothing is quite as it seems when it's moving through water. Just like somebody who is a spear fisher, right? These people who fish with spears. If you see the fish and you just go straight for the fish, you often miss it because you need to take into consideration the refraction that is caused by the water and the light, right? So there's always a little bit of, you can't ever be completely sure when something's moving through those water houses. But psychic premonitions, you can. It's just a little bit difficult to pin the fact down, as it were. All right. Week 2. This is a nice week. So this is a week where you can maybe pick your feet up a little bit. I've been saying this for all the signs. Hopefully I'm right about this because we could use a week off. March 10th, we have the new moon in Pisces, 21 degrees of Pisces. This is your house of relationship. This is an opportunity to start a new relationship or a new way of relating. At the same time, Mercury makes a waning sextile to Pluto. Mercury, of course, is now in Aries, and as when all planets move into a new sign, they come up against Pluto. Last month, it was directly because any planet that moved into Aquarius last month had to go through Pluto. But all the other signs also will connect by an aspect. Some of the aspects are major, some of them are challenging, some of them are minor. But your aspect, in fact, is a sextile. And this is a nice energy. This is a nice energy, again, bringing in that energy of progressive change. Actually, I am lying to you, just to make it clear. I said it's a waning sextile, and I said all sextiles this month are waning. It is not. It's a waxing sextile. So it's Mercury is moving away from Pluto, and so that it's growing, right? It already conjoins Pluto in January, and now it's moving into that first Tamilic aspect of the sextile, and the lines of communication are opening. And who are you communicating with? You're communicating with the world soul, the world soul. March 11th, we have Venus ingress into Pisces. And this is lovely. Venus moving into your house of relationship is always a nice thing. And Venus is exalted in Pisces. So this is a little bit of a healing balm to some of the tension you may experience, especially with Saturn and eventually Mars in this chart. But Venus is the first one in after after last month, Mercury moving into that sign and the sun moving into that sign. All right. On week 3, the 17th, the sun conjuncts Neptune. That's St. Patrick's Day, if you're so inclined to celebrate that. The sun is clarity and Neptune is not. And so when they come together, it can be a very inspiring time. It can be, you can it's like a good time for like visualizing the ideal future or the ideal situation. But it is a very dreamy time and um, a time perhaps when it it's better to dream than to actually plan in that respect. But it is St. Patrick's Day, so if you're so inclined to go out and have some green beer, just make sure you have a designated driver or an Uber or whatever you need to do to stay safe, because the lines are not clear when the sun conjoins Neptune. And then on the 19th, few days later, the sun ingresses into Aries. This is the start of the spring here in the northern hemisphere, excuse me, and fall in the southern hemisphere. It's the time when night and day is equal. So there's a balancing energy here. There's also the energy of becoming with the sun in Aries. And so we're sort of coming out of that sort of Piscean otherworldliness into the real life world, um, with the sun moving into Aries. And that's going to be your 8th house as well. So this would be a good time for you to look at maybe start your tax preparations, things like that, because the sun is shining in that area, and hopefully you'll be able to see it, what you need to see to get started with that. On the 21st, the sun makes a waning sextile to Pluto. This is the sun connecting with Pluto and opening the lines of communication with the soul. Venus, on that day, Venus also makes a conjunction to Saturn. This is the start of a synodic cycle between Venus and Saturn, so it's sort of like the birth of something new. Um, Venus is fun and Saturn is a bit of a wet blanket, especially in Pisces. So you may initially feel a little depressed at this time. I think just generally, not you specifically, Virgo, but everybody because of this energy. Um, but it is the start of really kind of looking at things in the cold eye of Saturn and what things really are and where things really stand with both your relationships, with your money, with all the things that Venus is connected to. It's not necessarily a negative thing. You could actually say, hey, things are pretty good, right? So it doesn't mean that it's going to be a negative experience. It just means that it's something that you have to deal with. Whenever Saturn does something, you just have to deal with it. You have to attend to what needs to be attended to. And you're a Virgo, so you kind of live with that mantra anyway. So I don't see it being necessarily an issue for you. On the 22nd, Mars moves into Pisces. And Mars actually is the ruler of the North Node now. The North Node is in Aries, the South Node is in Libra. So as Mars moves into Pisces, we're being asked to move in a Piscean direction with our evolution. And of course, that includes our ability to forgive, Week 4, on the 24th, Venus makes a waning sextile to Jupiter. This is a lovely energy. Venus is considered the lesser benefic. Jupiter is the greater benefic. These sextiles do help us to bring our eye to the future in a more humanitarian way. So I think we're going to really start to see in March us moving towards a more compassionate view on a lot of issues. And I think a lot of people have compassionate views on certain issues. It's just that maybe the people in charge will catch up. Okay. All right, on the 25th, we have a full moon. It's a full moon in the sign of Libra, 6 degrees of Libra as it is. And we have to remember that the South Node is in Libra. So that means eclipse season is starting. So we have the start of eclipse season. Starts with the full moon. This full moon is going to be in your house of resources, your second house with the sun in your eighth house. So you're going to get a real view about your financial situation, your resources, and the resources you share with others. Again, this is a time when, getting your taxes done and things like that is highlighted. It is an eclipse, and when we are in the eclipse season, sudden things can happen, sudden changes. That's true for all of us, and so you might see that around your resources. And then the last thing that happens is Venus making a waning sextile to Uranus. Again, Venus is our values, our love, our money, the things that are important to us, the things that are essential in our lives. And Uranus is an energy of change. But it is a sextile, and so it's a change that is selected, and you opt for change as opposed to change happening to you. It's easier to change and have it be something that's a little bit more controllable. Although with Uranus, you can't ever be too controlled. But it's much better than the square when it comes to, with squares, you kind of have to react to them because they happen. And that's it. Just like, whoop, I got to react to this situation. But sextiles, you can use your mind a little bit, which of course you love to do because you're a Mercury ruled sign. All right, so that's the story, Morning Glories. Let us stop the share here. Now I've been using a deck. I like to use the same Oracle deck for all the reads, and I've been using this deck that I just uh, picked up a month or so ago called Mystical Sisters Oracle Deck. It's by one of my favorite artists, Emily Bolivet. Excuse me, Emily, if I say your name wrong. And we'll start with just picking an oracle card, and then we'll get into the tarot reading using the Elemental Power Tarot. All right, let's see. What energy does Virgo need to be aware of, in alignment with, as we look forward to March of 2024? March of 2024. We'll do it like this. I think this is the best way. Okay. March 2024 for Virgo. Okay. Her secrets. Her secrets. This beautiful card. All right. Let's see what it says. I just got this deck, so I haven't mastered it yet, but all right. Her secrets. Oops. Oh, here we go. Secrets and listening. I'll hold it up so you can see it. There we go. Oh, is that good? Put it next to my face because my face. Here we go. Okay. The four sisters are sharing a moment of secret privileged information. They lean on each other for support and are keenly interested in what the others have to share. When this card is drawn, it signifies the need to confide in a friend. The value of having a friend to share your secrets with is immeasurable. The release of stress that comes with knowing you do not have to carry the burden of your thoughts by yourself is such a gift. Not all of your thoughts are true, but holding them inside and allowing an interior dialogue to run on a loop can be devastating to your well-being. Be grateful for those around you, you whom you can trust. Share your personal internal conflicts with them and patiently listen to theirs. The simple act of speaking your mind has a purifying effect on the spirit. Interesting because Virgo is associated with purification, right? It's the virgin, it's the purity. All right. So make sure you're not holding it all in on your own. Okay. It's important. All right. Let me grab, I know that I'm out of focus. I'll fix that in a minute. Oops. I have a trick for that. All right. I just got to do something here. So I'll be, oh, there I am. Okay. I was going to say I'll be right back, but it fixed itself. I love that. I love when that happens. My computer is suddenly a Virgo. It fixes itself. All right. So let's see what's up for Virgo for the month. All right. Just a couple of quick shuffles here. I love this deck. This deck is so pretty. Yeah. All right. All right. That was good. Feels good. It's got, they have a nice, they're easy to shuffle, even though they're big. They have a nice coating on them. All right, what do we hear? Okay, we have the Nine of Pentacles. Well, it's not a bad card to start with, Virgo. I like the Nine of Pentacles. This is the number of the self-made person. It generally means that your financial situation is pretty good. Um, and you're self-made generally. So it's not like people are giving you the money just because they like you. They're giving you the money because you've worked for it. Okay, let's see what's crossing that. The Empress, this is the card of abundance. So could you have more abundance? Is that a problem? Is that a problem? All right, let's see what's underneath it. Okay, we have the Four of Swords here. Four of Swords is an energy of rest. It's rest. It's rest from strife and rest from struggle. And so I think what these two initial cards are indicating is that you're in good stead and you can relax. That's what this says to me, because it is time for you to take a rest. So you need to make sure that you're resting your mind, especially, and your body at the same time. In the past, we have the Chariot. So you've done some really uh, you've made some big changes. The Chariot, it means that you have been on your path. And it's interesting because in this deck, the Chariot doesn't have a charioteer. It's just sort of sitting there in the flowers, as it were. Uh, it's as if the charioteer is off on a picnic with his pups over there. All right. Oh, in the sky, we have the star. I like this here for these are beautiful cards, Virgo. You deserve it. You deserve it. So these cards so far are saying get some rest. You've worked really hard. You deserve the abundance that you have, and take the time to visualize your dreams. Take the time to meditate. The star card is about meditation. Okay. Your immediate future, we have the Queen. Is this the Queen? Hold on one second. This is the Princess of Swords. The Princess of Swords. So, while you're enjoying yourself and resting, you do need to keep your ears to the wind a little bit because there are messages coming through. It's not something that you necessarily need to act on, but you need to be aware. So keep your ears open even while you're resting. How other people see it, that you're balancing. This is a card of balance. It often means financial balance, but because you have such good cards to start with the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like this really is talking about finding balance for your health, or your physical health, as opposed to your financial situation, because it feels like your financial situation, at least with these cards, are good. Now we do have the moon in your house, your domestic situation. And of course, this is a Pisces card, and of course, we saw from the chart that you have a lot of energy in Pisces, and so there can be some emotional ups and downs in your home life, and perhaps that's one of the reasons why you need the rest. Why you need the rest. Hopes and fears. It's the devil. It's a fear of being trapped, being trapped. Uh, this can be addictions and the like. So you may have that on your mind. Um, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's real. It's just something that I mean, I doubt very much you're hoping for the devil. Okay, so we're going to assume that um that it is a fear. And that fear actually could be connected to what's going on in the world as we see people like Vladimir Putin killing all his enemies, and we see Donald Trump out there saying stuff that's creating lots of instability within the world order. And so I did say keep your ear out for like messages, but you don't want to take those messages and bring them to like, well, what if, but what if, but what if, but what if? No, it's time to rest your mind. You need a rest, Virgo. You need a rest. Outcome, we have the Two of Swords, which is also sort of a resting card. It's a card of maybe being at a crossroads or sort of a balancing of the energies here, seeing two sides of an issue. This is actually a Libra card, so this will help you to see two sides of an issue. But I'm going to keep pulling, see if we can get a major arcana, and we do the Sun. And so this sense of peace and equanimity will create, you'll see what you need to see. The Sun is about full illumination. So there is going to be full illumination, and you get to see it and experience it and rest at the same time. Underneath it all, we have the 10 of Wands, that is burdens, justice, which again indicates that there's going to be a balancing of the scales. I like that. Excuse me. And the Queen of Cups, which is about self-nurturance. So that's important. So lay down your burdens. Cosmic justice has it in hand, and nurture yourself. That's what these cards say. Not bad, Virgo. Not bad at all. All right, guys, have yourself a great month. Like and subscribe if you would. If you'd like to have a reading with me, I do combination astrology, numerology, and Kabbalah readings. It's probably like nothing you've had before. I offer hour readings and hour and a half readings. If it's your first reading, I do like to have the extra time with you because we do go over a lot of things. Everything is recorded, so you can listen to it over and over again. And each time you listen to it, I'm sure you're going to get some good information from it. So there's links below for that. If you would like to support my work, I do have a Patreon page. You can become a patron. Patrons usually get things sooner than my YouTube audience, but the more patrons I can get, the more special things I can do for you. I just have to, make it so that I need to put the time aside for that. I have a lot of things I want to share with you. But I have to wait until it's financially feasible for me, actually. All right. And you understand that. You're a Virgo, right? You understand that. Was there something else I wanted to say? A like and a thumbs up would be good as well. Share this with somebody that you love. Tell them the good news. March is good for Virgos. All right, everyone. Have yourself a great month. I'll see you again in April. April promises to be one of those whiz bang months. So rest up for April. Okay. Take care, everyone. Namaste.